What's up, YouTube? Today we're talking with Kevin Cote about his brand new Kickstarter game, 9 Omens. Kevin is an experienced game designer who served as the R&D lead for old school Metazoo and is bringing his game design chops to a very interesting new project. In this interview, we talk about his experience in game design, the lessons he's learned over the years, and we spend a lot of time looking at his brand new and exciting game. I hope you enjoy this interview. Welcome to the show. Today we have Kevin Cote, also known as KevinCracksCards on YouTube, world famous game designer, here allegedly, here to talk about a new project that he has developed and is currently on Kickstarter called 9 Omens. Kevin, how are you today?
I'm fantastic. Just FYI, it's a Cote. It's a French name.
Okay. Cote.
It's okay. I get that all the time. Half my life, just Cote. I'm wearing a coat that Speed Robo Games represent. A little hoodie coat. I'm doing great, man. Swoop Cube, man. Like you and I are like card game addicts, man. And we bonded over, man. Which game was it? I forgot which indie game.
You turned me on to Elemental Creatures, actually.
That's right.
Yeah, good that was the big one. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you got like super into it, and
yeah, I'm still pretty deep in. That's a good one.
It's a good one.
Yeah, and we're gonna have Justin back on the show here pretty soon. He's got a big set coming out, but we're here to talk about your game. But let's start light. I hear you're the guy that ruined Metazoo. Is that true?
Oh, 100%.
I'm just kidding, man. But to anyone who doesn't know, would you mind just kind of sharing your background, how you got into game design, and tell your story?
Yeah, I'll give it a nutshell. So, I was actually a biology major in college. I have a bachelor's in biology, like conservation, environmental kind of stuff. But I had a weird graduation. I graduated during COVID at the peak, 2021.
Yep.
So I had a drive-through graduation, and at the time I was hearing about this game called Metazoo that kept appearing. Now, Metazoo and we have a tense relationship. I'll put it that way. Overall, it's a lot of goods, not so goods in the story, but I had a good relationship with Mike at the time, and I was like, "Hey, Michael Waddell, I'm not doing anything after college. I don't have any plans yet. What if I work for Metazoo?" Because I was already doing like rulebook stuff, and I did the how to play for Metazoo. We got like 50,000 whatever views now, if it's still up. And he was like, "Sure, I'll make you R&D director." I was like, "Okay, let's go." So I had zero game design experience. I just helped around. So that was my first professional game design thing, and that was a learning experience, to put it simply. I only worked for 1 year, 8 months officially. I counted as 2 years because I did like unpaid work. I did the tabletop simulator judging for tournaments before I was hired. Helped out with some game design for set 2, Nightfall. That was my first set. But yeah, it was about 2 years, but it felt like 5 years. It felt like 5 years. Because long hours. Burnout was a big thing. So on average, we would push out a set, like a booster box set, start to finish, like 3 to 4 months average.
That's wild.
Like it's wild. It was so quick. Nightfall, it was just me and Michael Waddell, but I did the brunt of the R&D. He helped a lot with the themes and the like. I got my good friends Logan, Damien, Emilio, who became R&D director after me. Of course, Fajir, also good friends, all of them. We're still friends today, all of us. But yeah, it was a good time. But as with many game design projects, the burnout is real. I think last time I checked, most game designers generally leave like after 2 years. I have to fact check that. But the burnout is just crazy with these like bigger companies, especially with an indie game company.
Yeah.
When you are doing like wearing multiple hats, right? Like I wasn't only a game designer. I was going to the Cash to Cup, judging if someone did a misplay or not, or a penalty for $100,000. Like
no pressure, right?
no pressure. That's kind of crazy to think about that. So I was thrown into game design basically, and I've always played games my whole life. So I was hearing in your video, you love Pokemon Red. That's your favorite video game of all time. I was hearing your new video today.
Yeah.
And for me, it was a little bit younger. Leaf Green. That was my game.
Yeah.
But actually, Emerald. Emerald was the true game. Love Pokemon Emerald all the way.
Was that the first one?
That I think it was Emerald. It was Emerald or Leaf Green.
It's always the first one.
It's always the first one, man. But I do think Kanto is still the best. Either way, Kanto has a place in my heart. Bulbasaur. That's my pick, Bulbasaur. But
I'm a Squirtle guy myself, but
Squirtle. Okay, I put some respect on the Squirtle. I feel like it's always Bulbasaur, Charmander, but Squirtle is underrated. In my opinion. But
he's good in Smash Brothers too.
He's crazy good. That guy is quick in Smash Bros, man.
Yeah,
that's Squirtle. But I've played games my entire life. I never did any game design formally, to be honest with you. I never made a game, so it was trial by fire. Every month, every day. I had a good game design intuition. I had good listening skills, I think, and I had a good knack for general game balance. But to be honest with you, I'm like 3 to 5 times better than what I was today than Metazoo. Metazoo was like learn, broken cards here. And you think it's balanced, it's not. And then, but you kind of take it with you, right? I had a lot of cards that people loved, people hated. But one thing I did do right in Metazoo, if you look at the metagame, was players can attest to this too. The metagame always changed, right? So in the first set, it was like flame, and you got forest and lightning, then water and forest, lightning, really water. Water was the top. But then, UFO next set, or wilderness next set, it changed and it kept changing. So I was good at shifting the metagame, keeping players on their toes. So it's okay if a game is unbalanced in the beginning for a while, as long as players don't get bored.
Yeah,
that's okay.
Right.
But Metazoo had a luxury that I took for granted, I think, and that most people don't have. They kind of pumped out sets like all the time. So because of the quick turnover in sets, it helped in the balancing, because you always had like time for new cards to like fix, patch up older cards.
And even if you make a mistake, it's not going to be around for half a year, right? Before you can throw stuff at it to balance it out.
Yeah, it can. There's caveats though. Like Metazoo was one of the hardest. A lot of people don't understand like the kind of difficulty balancing and working with Metazoo was. I was tasked, my team and I, all of us, like we were tasked with trying not to power creep the first set, which is a huge thing, right? Unfortunately, I did resign from Metazoo because of burnout, and honestly, I kind of lost sight of the game. I was kind of questioning, well, what are we actually doing here? Are we trying to make a game? Really? Is this more of an investment? I kind of lost sight of like the value we're doing as a game company, honestly. And to be very honest with you, man, Mike, I almost quit game design like entirely. Yeah. I almost like stopped game design after that. I was like getting so depressed in general being in that company. So I resigned. A lot of tears came out. It was a very sad day when I met my coworkers for the last time. But, here we are, still kicking around. My friends have kept me inspired to keep doing game design. And people like you, fans of my channel, you guys inspire me to keep trying different stuff, which hopefully 9 Omens changes the status quo a little bit. We'll talk about that
so
later.
Let's pivot to that. Let's why don't you give me an elevator pitch on 9 Omens? In a nutshell, what is the game? What are you trying to accomplish with it?
Okay, very quick elevator pitch. Imagine if classic Yu-Gi-Oh was good. Basically. that is what the game was built off. It is
Okay.
classic Yu-Gi-Oh! Was good with a few twists, if you catch my drift.
Mhm.
It's a $15 product where no deck building. You just pick up a deck and you play. No shuffling, no dice, no tokens.
Yep.
That's it. 2 to 4 players. That's the product. That's the pitch.
Good. Wait, you have there's multiplayer?
You can do 2 to 4 players. Yeah, it's on a
Oh,
box.
yeah, that would make sense. Okay,
Yeah,
yeah, I could see how that would work. Yeah.
yeah. It's like
So
it's a commander. Yeah.
right. So you were kind enough to send me a couple demo decks of the game, which I got to play for the first time last night. Thank you for
You
that.
did. You did.
And I have to say I tremendously enjoy it. I have a lot of thoughts, but I want to hear from you the no shuffle thing. Like the 9
Okay.
card, right? So the way that it works is your deck is 9 cards. You start the game with a 9 card hand, and then you go from there. And as the game progresses, your hand whittles down. But yeah, talk about that, because that's something that not a lot of people are doing right now.
Thank you for noticing that. So it's kind of different. And my friends joke with me, you're like, are you obsessed with the number 9? I never cared about the number 9 until like this year or like last year. I'm not a John Lennon fan or Beatle fan with the number 9, the song. I don't care about number 9 a whole lot, honestly. But so the number 9 thing, it actually started because of print and play games. So if you ever play any print and play games, the optimal number of cards you can make from a page is 9.
Yep.
And that kind of got my head rolling. How easy would it be to play test a game from one piece of paper if it was 9 cards? It's super easy to track. It's just put it there. And before 9 Omens, I did a game jam, just for fun, just to improve as a designer.
Yeah.
And I got a couple awards for game design for that game. That game, I won't say the name of it in case I make it in the future into an actual game. It's also a very fun game, but it's also a 9-card game. Also, no shuffling involved, and it plays very different than 9 Omens. But that game proved to me that, hey, this is a good premise. Like 9 cards from the piece of paper, but 9 cards, it's kind of a cool number if you think about it. It's not so many cards, or it's like my brain's gonna break, but it's not so little cards where you can predict everything. There's an 11% chance to predict any card. So it just works. The only problem with these 9-card games is if you do no shuffling and you put everything in your hand, it can be a little bit of too big of a hand size for like kids. That is the only problem. Fortunately,
yeah, you just mean like physically holding the cards, right? Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I care a lot about accessibility, like physical, socioeconomic, color blindness, visual. 9 Omens was kept with all of those factors. The only thing 9 Omens doesn't hit for accessibility is cognitive, because it's a lot of depth for the game.
Yeah, there's some crunch.
There's some crunch, but that was the game I wanted. I wanted a game with most depth for lowest complexity. Or I guess like this, like highest depth for lowest complexity.
Right.
Well, what do you think of the game? Is it what do you think?
Yeah. So it's not the first no shuffle game I played, but it's the first one I've understood.
Okay.
So I played last night. My brother and I got together. We were gonna play another game. So I was like, hey man, my friend sent me these cards. We got to try this game. And he was like, what, a 9-card game? What is that? Like, just skeptical. And so I handed him the cards and he was like, oh, I'm into this. Let's go. And so we played a couple games, we switched decks, and then we played for the rest of the night and never got to the second game that we meant to play. So it caught on with us. It unfolded kind of gradually. I'd say the first 2 games, we were really just getting our head around the rules. So I'm actually going to hold up a card here to the camera, because not everyone's seen these cards. So are you getting glare? Can you read that?
I can't read that. I have the card also. I have the card in front of me too. I can pull it up.
Yeah.
Wind power.
So the cards are really simple. There's an attack stat, a defense stat, an effect. There it is. Now that my hand's up there, it unblurred it. And that is So like they're simple cards, but every card you can play it attack mode, defense mode, face down attack mode, face down defense mode. So there's 4 different ways that you can play a card, and there's different situations where you'd want all of them. And that took me like 5 games to figure out. I mean, I played my first 3 games without even playing a face down card because I just
no.
right, and so I'm like losing all the time to this aggro deck. I was playing Amassed, and my brother was playing Elementals, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not winning, and because I was just playing the cards based on their face value, not the hidden information component. And that's huge. And that's something that adds a crazy amount of depth to games when you can play with hidden information. And that's part of the core rules. We're playing, and my brother was like, dude, this is kind of like simple Netrunner, which honestly, that's a massive compliment. Because I mean, you've played Netrunner, I'm assuming, right?
You're gonna kill me. I haven't.
Oh,
they're gonna kill me.
Yeah.
No, that's on my list. I have.
Yeah,
I get that all the time.
Yeah. So
I'll take it though.
Yeah. So in that, a core element, there's bluffing in every card game, right? You're playing Magic the Gathering or Pokemon or whatever, and you're kind of playing your cards, but like, there's not bluffing. That is what I'm trying to say. I've said the inverse of what I meant, which is when you're playing Magic, you're really just trying to optimize your game plan. You're not trying to trick your opponent. Whereas in 9 Omens, like by game 6, when I finally figured out how to play the Amass deck optimally, I was like playing cards with 0 defense in attack mode, knowing that face down, knowing that I'd done 5 games of the opposite play pattern, and my brother was just going to twist it automatically and then walk right. And so there's that kind of, and so that's where so much the complexity comes in a good way. Like, and when you play with a different person, you're going to be playing with a different game because they're going to think differently. They're going to play their cards differently. And you start with the entire deck. So there's the decision tree has infinite branches from the starting point,
It's a lot. There's like 36 positions you could do if you think about it.
Right.
Yeah, because every 9 cards times 4, because it's 4 face down attack, defense, and then face up attack and defense.
Right. Yeah. So lots of different plays. I was thinking like how long, and maybe you've done this, but with every team, like, could you math out that tree?
Yep. So you could. I haven't, to be honest with you. It's so much work to like think about it. And even if you mathed it out, there's never one optimal play, because that's the way the game is balanced.
Yeah.
So you never know for sure. Like there's always counterplay in 9 Omens.
Yep.
So there's counterplay within the single card. Every card has a weakness. Like the card we're going to spoil today, wink wink, has a weakness, and I'll let you figure it out first before I say it to the public. But the game was meticulously balanced to provide that level of counterplay, so it feels fair no matter what. I'm very glad you got to that point with you and your brother, that higher level, because that's like the interesting part where I don't know if they're bluffing me or not.
Right.
Because, if you're playing optimally, like, okay, first turn player plays attack mode, flamekin, whatever, strong attack, face down, whatever. And then they play a guy face down. They don't want to attack. They're scared. Okay, I play a guy, I switch, and then I just kill your guy, right? That bluffing is in there to keep the game interesting.
Well, I mean, think about poker, right? It's basically go fish with bluffing and money, so you add that level to any game, and the like the replayability, the complexity, I think the satisfaction when you're playing someone and it gets to that level. We played for like 4 hours. It was only 6 games, and we were going a little bit slow. We can both be kind of like spend a little too much time in the tank, and starting a game with 9 cards you don't know for the game 1. Our first turn each was like 5 minutes. We're like, what does this card do? What does this card do? What does this card do? But by the time we got to game like 4, 5, 6, we were rolling. And it's like, oh, you're doing that play again on the first time. Okay, I'm going to counterplay you with this. Or I'm going to pretend I'm counterplaying you with that, but actually do something different, right?
Yes.
So was that element a happy accident, or is that something that like you knew from the beginning? I want that kind of hidden information component, mind gaminess to be part of the core experience?
That was actually beginning. So I already worked before with the previous game jam, the 9 cards.
Okay.
So I knew the limitations of 9 cards. I was already familiar with it. And I was like, like I was getting into a game design debate online in a certain Discord server, but people were like, you need to have randomization for card games. You need to have shuffling in card games. Right? There's a lot of misconceptions I'm trying to break.
Right.
Randomization is overrated. That's my hot take. It is an overrated.
Ooh, that's hot take, man.
That's a very, because you know it's not overrated, and this is what randomization does. Uncertainty.
Yeah.
It's not about randomization. It's about not knowing information. Now, randomization creates uncertainty, but you don't need randomization to create uncertainty. For instance, your brother and you, there is already uncertainty there because you guys don't know how good you are at 9 Omens, right? You guys are both learning at the same time. You don't know what they're thinking. That's one level of uncertainty. And then the face downs add upon that. I'm trying to show people you can create uncertainty very simply, just by the face down. And I'm gonna say it straight up. Yu-Gi-Oh! It's my favorite card game out of the big 3. It got a lot of things right. Yu-Gi-Oh! Got so many things right. It got the face down thing right. It got the very basic, play phase right. It got the tempo, how a card game should be right. Where you play a card, it does a thing. There's no lands slowing you down. There's no energy you got to attach to get going. He's like, oh, no, I got to go right now. So 9 Omens, the bones of it was Yu-Gi-Oh! But the skin and muscles were indie card games and my own twists, pun intended, on other stuff to fix issues. So I'm very happy you both enjoyed the game. I did the same thing with my buddy. One of my best friends, we were like playing like one game, try it out, and we ended up playing 6 hours. It was like he was the one who wanted to keep playing. He was like, no, I'm gonna go again. I'm gonna go again. Yeah. And I was like, all right. And he played only one team, a team that you haven't seen yet. Which is a very high level team, very fun, very good team. And I just did a whole gauntlet. I played him against every single team he didn't have. So we just ran it through, and he was like tinkering every time. I was like, oh my God, that's a new matchup every time. Yeah. So,
I in terms of like the amount of gameplay and its strategic decision making that you've crammed into a tiny package. I mean, the entire base set is what, 50 something? 15 times for 60 cards, or no?
54
cards, right? Yeah.
Yep.
So that's the size of like a small deck in most TCGs, right?
Yeah.
And that's your whole set. But you've got, it's the amount of play that we had between just 2 decks. I mean, I felt like we could have kept going for hours. And still been discovering new things. And I think part of it is maybe I'm just not smart enough. And you can tell me as the game designer if I should be able to hold all these eventualities in my mind. But I can only think 1 or 2 turns ahead. And even at that, I'm like, man, there's so much that could happen. I don't really know how to plan this. So I'm just going to do my best guess here, right? Where it's just, there's like the next step's always just out of your brain's grasp, and you're kind of discovering it as you go. It's just a fun ride.
Listen, man, I know I seem smart because I made this game. I put a lot of work. I'm not that smart when I play. I'm like, sometimes, I mean, when we're testing. Like, I got to try hard, right? Get that Denny's game going. But like, I don't want to think that far ahead. If you saw my gameplay video for 9 Omens, I was like, we have 2 face downs on the field. I just want to play a guy, lightning ball. Let's go. Let's see what happens. Right? Oh my God, I got bluffed. Like, that is like, that's me too. It's hard to think that far ahead. But with 9 Omens, you can do it better than a lot of games because you know what they have, right? You know their 9 cards.
Well, once you've lost to it 5 times in a row, then you know.
That's true.
Yeah. So let me ask you this: so you designed from like original first sketched card, however you made your first play test, to Kickstarter live. How long was that time period?
3 months. Not even that. Actually,
how many hours?
I can't count it. I did a lot. It was a lot of hours. So I'll say the basic story. So basically, I've been really obsessed with trying to fix classic Yu-Gi-Oh, because when people look at Yu-Gi-Oh, they appreciate things like, oh, fusion monsters are cool, like summoning is cool, special summoning. I don't hear a single person compliment the battle system. For me, it was the battle system, and it was imperfect.
2 positions.
Yes, it's just 2 modes, right? And the bones of 9 Omens, it's attack, defense, effect, right? That's the bones of Yu-Gi-Oh, right? We forget levels, attributes, all this stuff. That doesn't matter. Right? Too much information, right?
Right.
What matters is, I call it a binomial, stat system, right? 2 numbers and an effect. That's all you need.
Right.
And I was obsessed with improving that. I'm like, how do we make this work? Because it's almost a balanced system. Like, it's actually almost a good system. How do we make it work? And a lot of different indie games, influenced me. Cryptid Camp influenced me. That's a game I'll call out because, and ironically, that game was inspired also by Yu-Gi-Oh too. But Cryptid Camp was inspired, to my knowledge, by an old Yu-Gi-Oh video game where the attack mode monsters were face down. And that made them do the attack mode monsters in their game face down. But the difference was the attack mode can bite back, right? Face down. They can attack back if they were defending. And in 9 Omens, the defenders bite back. That's part of the fix I did to make the system more interesting.
Right.
But yeah, I was at work one day. I had inspiration and I was like, man, I know this company I'm friends with, Speed Robo Games, the best publisher ever, in my opinion. And I was like texting the owner. We talk, and I'm like, hey man, if I made a game that was like 54 cards in a box, like whatever, and it was good, would you publish it? And he was like, yeah. It was like, you would do it. And before I made the game, this is very important. I ran with him what the product looked like before I even designed the game.
Right.
I was like, I want 54 cards in a box, $15. I don't want my friends to pay any more than $15. I want this. In my head, $15 was the optimal price. It's not so much where you're hating yourself for paying too much money for a game, but it's not so little where I couldn't cram a lot of game.
Right.
Right. It's like that right. It's the right price point, in my opinion. And so, he did calculations. And Speed Robo was like, yeah, we can make it work. It's profitable at $15, like already. I'm like, okay, let's do it. So I did the prototype, which was these first 2 decks, but they changed a lot. Amassed and Elements, they changed a lot. I actually got the original cards here. They're like, black text box, very like text
Love
box.
it. Yeah.
Love it. It's so bare bones. But when we first played the game, it took us like 6 games with a few changes. But after that, with my original playtester, who actually tested, hundreds of games with me, shout out to Andre. Andre is a good guy for that. It worked. And I was like, this is good. Like, this is actually like the Yu-Gi-Oh changes were good. Some things need to be fixed. And there's a lot of like small game design stuff that took a lot of thinking to fix to make it work. But particularly the stats. So I can talk about that if you want. That's really nerdy talk though. But like I can tell you though.
Yeah, I would love a maybe in brief, but I would love to hear, because it's like there's really basically just 4 levels. I mean, not exactly, but it's like 0, 500, 1000. I guess no, 5 levels, 1500, 2000. With like some random like 1907 or something thrown in that are just kind of hilarious.
I gotta throw it in there. Well, okay, you almost got it right. That's not wrong. So I see the game as 3 levels actually.
Okay.
3 levels. So very high attack, low defense, very high defense, low attack, and then the middle.
The balanced, yeah.
The balanced. The 1515s, the 1500, Rot Riser.
Yeah.
That's like the balanced, right? And they all have pros and cons. The pros and cons of the attack and defenders is that they're good in attack and defense, but they're weak to switches. The advantage of the middle guys is that they're good against switches, but they're going to lose out against one of the 2.
Right.
And it's kind of that's kind of the triangle there, or I don't know if it's a triangle. It's more like a circle of balance.
Yeah, makes sense. So let me ask you this. Well, do you have more to talk about the stats? Because that's interesting to me.
Okay, yes, I'll bring it up. So there's a lot of math involved, obviously, in balancing the game, or maybe not obviously, but a lot of look, wind power. I don't care what people say. This card is a balance card. Like this 1917, it's funny, right? It's funny.
Right.
Mathematically, it's actually balanced to the game. Like, believe it or not, people will be like, "There's no way that no, it is." Like, if you actually do the math, I swear to God, it is perfectly balanced to the game.
Right.
But it's funny to look at, and I always love the Yu-Gi-Oh odd numbers. It's kind of my callback to Yu-Gi-Oh, but even more weird than like a 1950 defender, like 1917. Like, that doesn't make any sense,
right?
But so one thing is that the stats are balanced to the effects, but there's two levels of like balance mechanisms to the teams. Okay, so level one, like two rules basically I follow, and that when I follow these two rules, the game worked. Rule number one is every team has to have two cards separated with 2,000 attack and 2,000 defense.
Mm-hmm.
What this does is every team has the strongest attack in the game, 2K, and the strongest defense in the game, 2K.
Mm-hmm.
So there's always the bluff potential. The second rule, and this is very important, and you have to kind of math it out on a spreadsheet, is every team's attack and defense values are equal. So Amassed has a total of 8,500 attack and 8,500 defense total when you actually look at it in a spreadsheet.
Mm-hmm.
That is very important because if you don't balance that, what that means is that it is advantageous to play more aggressively than defensively. For the bluffing to work in 9 Omens, it has to be neither advantageous to play a card in defense mode or attack mode.
Right.
So you have to have that stat equality there to make it work. And that took a lot of thinking to do, but it worked out, man.
But that means every time you wanted to make a tweak to one card on a team, you had to look at every other card and think, all right, where are these attack points coming from? Or...
He got it. Got it.
Right,
oh my God.
Yeah.
It's a lot of mental work, but yeah.
So what's next? I mean, like, first off, we're in Kickstarter, and congratulations on being like 15,000% funded in 2 days. I hope that rocket continues to go to the moon, and you get hundreds of backers, and this game becomes very well known, because it certainly deserves to be.
Thank you, appreciate that.
One of the Kickstarter goals was that director of Speed Robo Games, Rydon, was going to design his own team and illustrate it himself. So that's coming. So there's going to be expansion there. Do you have future sets planned for 9 Omens?
Oh yeah. So I've wanted for a long time what I call my lifetime game. What that means is it's not the only game I make, but it's the game that I keep going with until I die, to put it simply. Because here's the reality, and you know this better than me because I don't have any children yet, but when you have a family, life gets busy, right? It gets busy very quick. And it's not about blaming kids or anything, but you don't have much time, right? So I've noticed a lot of designers, when they have kids, it's hard for them to get their dream game out because, it's not because of the kids, because, I got my doctor's appointment, I still got to work, I got family stuff. Like, it's very hard to maintain all of that, you know? So I thought to myself, I need a game where I can just make expansions for. Not because building a game from the ground up is a lot harder than making an expansion. That's the way I see it. So 9 Omens is that game for me. And the plan is to keep pumping out standalone expansions. What you mentioned before, the product, it's never going to change. $15, 6 decks, different play styles. And we have set 2, identical to that, will be out in fall, approximately. Little more, little less on Kickstarter also. And then set 3, tentatively winter 2028. So like the beginning of winter 2028.
Right. So like a little over a year later.
little over a year. After set 3, I can't give a timeline yet because something with 9 Omens, I'm putting a lot of care into it, and I'm not trying to do any power creep. So whenever I make a team, I need to test that team to every other team made multiple times to confirm it's balanced, which is a lot of games. So it gets exponentially more difficult. I can promise more or less, hopefully, I promise to you, Mike, I can make, 2 more sets by 2028 winter. Yeah. And then after that, set 4, I might need 2 years. I don't know how long I need,
So in your mind, should every team be 50-50 into every other team, or is it like 60-40, 70-30? Like, what's kind of your range of balance, right? Because there's many ways to kind of slice that apple.
Ideally the 50-50, but in reality, that's why it's so meticulous. But the reality is probably like 48-52, like something like that. I don't have.
So you're trying to have a really tight band where you can basically just grab 2 random decks out of the box and roll, and not feel like you have to fight uphill.
Yeah, exactly. Power creep sucks when you can't play with your cards, man. Like, you like a mass. I want you to keep playing a mass until you play against a set 3 team, whatever.
Yeah.
And not only that, I'm trying to avoid complexity creep. The rule book you have will never change, except for wording updates and like making things, maybe an extra example if people have issues. But that's a big thing as well. A lot of games have, let's be honest here, if you make a game like Magic or Yu-Gi-Oh, you have to spend money to market, hey, these are the rules changes for these cards. To keep up to date with the errata. I don't want you guys to do that. I want you to take the same rule book from 2026 and play with it 2031 the same with set 6 or whatever, That's what I want you to do. So yeah. But 9 Omens is like 20 experiments, but it's a can we stop power creep experiment, and can we prevent complexity creep experiment? I think it's possible. I think it's doable.
Well, I mean, you have. So, like, I'm going to use an analogy here, and you're obviously familiar with Pokemon, right? So, because you have a lot of knobs on a team that you can dial. So, like, think about, like, Gyarados and Magikarp, right? Gyarados is, like, the super OP Pokemon. It's, like, for a stage 1, it's, like, the strongest in the game. And it's balanced by having this super tiny, weak Magikarp. And so, you've got 9 dials. And you're right. You can have like 3 Gyaradoses and 6 Magikarps on a team, and have that be like kind of wild, right?
Kinda. So,
but you have to have those 2000s at least.
Right. So, okay, this gets more complicated.
Right.
So I don't only balance the teams; I balance every card. So every card is supposed to be equally balanced with every other card. Seedling is mathematically as strong as wind power, believe it or not.
Oh, interesting.
It goes deeper than that.
So you have values assigned to the textual abilities.
I have values assigned to the abilities, the attack and defense. Yeah, it gets complicated. But the reason why it's important is I want people like yourself, connoisseurs, to be able to cube this game because it's 100% cubable, draftable, shuffle the whole deck, draw 9 cardsable. Because every card is balanced, meaning every combination would work, which that is very difficult. But the teams are balanced because every card in the team is balanced. So,
yeah, interesting. Okay, that makes sense. I can see why you're giving yourself longer and longer lead times as you make more cards.
Yeah, I don't want to rush myself.
Can we talk about the twist mechanic?
Yeah, absolutely, I love
it. So that is. I mean, as far as I can tell, that is like, because you're saying you're building on the bones of Yu-Gi-Oh and trying to fix classic Yu-Gi-Oh. And as I have to confess, right? You confessed earlier that you never played Netrunner. I have never played a game of Yu-Gi-Oh.
You don't need to.
I've well, and that's the thing is Yu-Gi-Oh. I feel like people kind of view it as a cursed game. And I mean, I've tried to read the cards before, and I get like a sentence and a half in. I'm like, oh man, this is bad. But it's clearly been massively influential, and down to the combat system that you've kind of adopted with the 2 different modes and different stats. But the switch mechanic, to me, long preamble, feels like it's completely unique to this game. Like I don't think I've ever really seen that anywhere before.
That is
So
unique.
yeah. So how did you come up with that? Was that a day one thing, or was that like a light bulb in the process?
That was months of thinking with the classic Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, how do we fix classic Yu-Gi-Oh? That was months
Right.
of thinking. So when looking at Yu-Gi-Oh, it was more of a logic thing. When looking at Yu-Gi-Oh, the biggest issue with the game was higher number always wins.
Let's time out.
Right. Oh,
Because
okay.
there's probably people listening who don't know what the switch mechanic is. So why
Okay,
don't you explain it and I will illustrate it. Real time.
Okay.
Go for it.
Okay. Switch mechanic is very simple. You pick an omen to do an action, and pick any other omen. In any omen, it could be like yourself, whatever, and you twist them. You just change. That's it. Like that's literally the mechanic of switching.
Right. Yep. Yeah. So what that means anyway, you continue. Sorry. Thank you.
You're good. Well, that was great. That's why I did my videos. Well, what that means is if you have a strong attacker, 2K attack or 0 defense, you can make it go to 0 defense.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized in Yu-Gi-Oh! That was the main issue. I was like, how do I balance the higher number always wins with the battle system? And it was so simple. It was just cards need to be able to, change the position. But it only works if cards actually had balanced stats. Hence why we talked about the stat thing earlier.
Right.
Stats have to be so in tune for it to work.
Right.
It only works because everything else works, which is why the system is so complicated to think about. So that's how it came up. So when I had that, I think the switching was the revelation. I was like, okay, classic Yu-Gi-Oh! This is how we justify it. Right? It's the switch and twist, change positions. So that's why Amassed was made. Amassed was the first team made, and I wanted to prove like twisting was good and like position changing was good. And then Elements was like a simple evolution. It was like, hey, I needed a stat checker. I needed like flame can attack again. I need like something real simple, basic.
Yeah.
So we'll have Elements also, and then there we go. First 2 teams.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I think it keeps the game moving, right? There's never this like stalemate situation. Like every turn, the board's changing massively, your hand's changing massively. You know, the raise mechanic is another thing that's probably worth talking about as well. But you never kind of get in that like dugout situation where you're just kind of staring at your opponent thinking, what do we do now? I think the first couple of games my brother and I played, there was like one turn where he just passed. And I was like, huh?
I don't like that. But you can do it.
It wasn't optimal. And then we were just figuring it out, right? But that's not a good move in this game, right? You always want to be interacting, doing something. And kudos, because it's really clean with how combat works. Like it interacts with every element of the card. And
no pun intended.
Right, yeah. No pun intended. Yeah, no, I was just kind of marveling at it while we were playing. Like, wow, this is really tightly put together. Very nice.
It has to be, because that's what I realized about Yu-Gi-Oh! The system only works if it's tightly balanced. I mean, I'll be honest with you. 9 Omens is not a game for everyone. It's a tightly balanced and cutthroat game. It's just a game for people who have really competitive instincts, but you don't want to read 100 words in a card.
Yeah.
Right. That's what this game is. It's for people like you. Unfortunately, it's not for your kids to play. It's for your kids to color. We'll get to that later, maybe. But it's not for your kids to play. It's for the parents to play when they want to put a little deck in their pocket and go. That was the game. That's how it was designed.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and it can be very casual, obviously. But if you want to take it seriously and really like expend some mental calories trying to outthink your opponent, you can probably exhaust yourself, in a couple games by going deep. So there was one more. Oh, I wanted to talk to you about the art and the theme. Talk to me about how you came up with the idea of just like simple black and white cards, hand-drawn art. I'd love to hear kind of that story.
Yeah. So first of all, I'm not the artist, but I did push the art direction. Like I was the one who the black and white, handwritten titles, all of that. That was my idea, basically. And then the artist Preston Philbrick, shout out to him, amazing artist. He capitalized and actualized it. So I've been obsessed with accessibility a lot. There is not a game designer, but a professor named James Huron. He's in the Netherlands, I think, and he made a book called Tabletop Accessibility Guidelines. It's a boring name.
Right.
It's a very boring name.
Sounds like something a professor would write.
Yeah, it is 100%. But it's honestly one of the most important game design books ever written, for sure, because it talks in depth on what accessibility is, which basically accessibility is making something easier for everyone. So I'll give you an example, right? A bad accessibility would be to have a ramp for someone to have an elevator for someone who's on a wheelchair, right? Or not, an elevator is okay, but what's better for someone in a wheelchair is a ramp, because a ramp, that's something that someone on a wheelchair or someone walking can both use. Good accessibility makes the game easier for everyone. So that was a really terrible example, by the way, but read the book. Examples.
I think I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Okay. Okay. 9 Omens, good example. So a good example of 9 Omens is the no shuffling, and people will call me out. They'll say you're crazy for no shuffling, but hear me out with no shuffling, right? The no shuffling was because people have motor accessibility. Not everyone has hands, right? People have tremors, shakes,
right?
And me myself, I have a chronic condition called contact dermatitis. I have a video on my channel talking about that, my skin condition. It's an off and on skin condition. Basically, I work in healthcare, and because of the hand washing for infection control, my skin breaks out. I'm allergic to soap, and it's taken me a long time to control it. But I would get cuts and bleeds, and it would take a week plus to heal just to get it again. So when I'm playing like 100 card deck commander, 100 card commander
with those pointy corners,
and the pointy corners, that's the thing. I'm like, oh my god, like I basically left commander largely because of that. I'm so tired of it. And it
wasn't the 4-hour games where you sit there for 80% of it doing nothing.
No,
I've played more than my fair share of commander games, man. I'm just kidding.
No, we're not kidding. Well,
I mean, we're not. Yeah,
we're not. I mean, I'm an aggro player, so I just I resign or I do my fun thing and get out. Like it's either or.
Right.
I'm having a good time. But that was the thing with the no shuffling. However, no shuffling not only helps the people who have those motor accessibility issues, it helps you out if you don't have any. I don't know if you have any. You don't have to tell me, but you save time. You want to play again. You know how much time of your life you just saved just not shuffling? Both players, right? You just got to play again. So that's good accessibility, in my opinion. Now, James Huron, I was rereading the book, seeing it again earlier before this call, the interview, and he doesn't talk about no shuffling at all for card games. So I'm trying to push that thing right now. And for the haters out there, if you hate the no shuffling thing, I want to clarify. Kevin loves to shuffle still, right? Kevin shuffles unsleeved cards. I'm not saying don't do any shuffling. What I'm saying is we need more card games without shuffling. And we need to break the status quo on that. So
and it's an unexplored design space. It's very 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 unexplored. There's a lot. I'm sure there's a lot more that you can do with it.
All right. I'm sorry. On topic. So with accessibility for the art, right?
Right.
So back on track for the art.
So color blindness was something you were concerned about, making it being accessible for players who are colorblind.
Yes, but extra layer. So every game can do colorblind. Colorblindness is the easiest accessibility metric, and yet it's so hard for people to not do it. There's a lot of games where color is dependent. It's color dependent, right?
Right.
But I wanted to go an extra level, not just accessibility for colorblindness, but how I call it equitable aesthetics. I want the game to look the same aesthetically to people who have color blindness, whether
Mm.
it's deuterogamy or whatever you say, black and white color blindness,
Right.
to red color blindness, whatever. I want equal aesthetics. And in card games, it's kind of weird, right? Because we don't see black and white games too much, but you see it in graphic novels like manga, right?
Yeah.
Black and white films. There's black and white games here and there online. I saw a great board game. Shout out to Black Mold, black and white only. Looks fantastic, black and white. So we can make good black and white games, and the coloring thing stemmed from that. That was a byproduct of accessibility first. And then I'm like, wait a second, Mike's kids can color these cards in. They can do that, and that was like a selling point,
Yeah.
So that's how that came up. The art style itself, Preston and I, we've been friends for years now, very, very close friends, and we always said one day let's do a game together. I'll do all the game design, you do all the art, right? One day.
Mm-hmm.
So I reached out to him. I'm like, hey, you want to do that at this point? And he was like, sure. And if you don't know, he's done all the art for my channel, my banners, my profile icon stuff,
right?
My faces for my channel. So I've been paying him for that, commissions, stuff like that. So he has this nice thing. I think he's super under. I think Preston's a great artist. I will say that up front, and he can do more than the doodles people say on 9 Omens. He can do way more than that.
Mm-hmm.
But he did exactly what we basically needed. Black and white, color in the cards. He did it to a T. But he had like this wavy kind of style. When I thought of 9 Omens, it was a kind of a dreamlike game. I didn't want people to think. I didn't want you to take it too seriously,
right?
When looking at it, just focus on some funny art. And the handwriting thing, that was actually it was inspired to be like anti-AI. To be very honest with you, because I feel like we've been losing the soul of card games over time. So what's more human than handwriting?
Mm-hmm.
I've always thought about that. I haven't seen many games push handwriting,
and not just like a handwritten styled font, but like actually asymmetric, imperfect. Yeah,
right. That was, and I didn't know if it was going to work, honestly. But I told Preston the idea in passing, and I was like, I wasn't too sure. But then Preston asked me over text. He was like, "Are we still doing the handwriting thing?" And I was like, "Yeah, let's try it. Let's see what it looks like." And he did it, and he made it a part of the card. Little eyes and some of the unmasked. The characters there.
I think it's a good touch. Yeah, it grows on you.
So, but yeah, that's basically the story there.
Cool. Can we do a speed round, and then I believe we have a spoiler card to show. Am I right?
Yes, speed round. Let's go.
Okay. Speed round. What a game that you haven't created? What is your favorite card game that's come out in the last year?
Oh my God, you asked me the hard questions right now. For what? In general, gameplay, like anything. Art?
What's just the first thing that pops to the top of your mind?
Oh my God. Okay, I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say Myriad by my friend Danger Boat, because I'm a game designer, and Myriad is the best game in my opinion. Sorry, other indie games, but best gameplay I've played. That was the game that influenced me to do the attack directly to face.
Yeah.
You want to know?
Okay.
That was that inspiration.
Yeah. Cool. All right. What's your favorite kind of toothpaste? Don't answer that question. That's a terrible question.
Colgate. Next.
All right. I didn't think about my speed round questions in advance. Usually I come up with a list. If you could bring back one dead trading card game to life, what would it be?
Duel Masters English.
Ooh, good pick. Yeah. So did you play that one back in the day?
Absolutely not. I've never played it.
Okay.
But believe it or not, that also influenced 9 Omens to have no dice, no tokens. But here's the thing. I had no friends growing up because I was an only child. But what I did have was a Duel Masters book from this bookstore, budget book. I still have it somewhere in my house, but I would just didn't know how to play the game. I would just love looking at Duel Masters. Hours. Just the art of it. And I didn't realize, oh shoot, that was Duel Masters the book until I was looking at it later on. So subconsciously it influenced me, and I wish it came back.
Honestly, I'm surprised it hasn't. I mean, that game's legacy is pretty intense. I mean, you could kind of still play it by just like picking up a Bandai game today, right?
So actually Card Game Crypt, Two Lanes and I, we did a trade basically, but he gave me cards for cards, but he gave me some Kaijudo Duel Masters English.
Right.
So I've been meaning to play with that soonish, but it's kind of hard balancing making games and playing games. So
yeah, absolutely. Do you find that as a game designer, when you're playing games, like, are you able to disconnect the game designer mind and just enjoy games as a player, or are you kind of always kind of turning that wheel?
I can disconnect it. I can. It's not always turning. If it was turning, I wouldn't have fun.
Yeah.
Like to me, being a game designer is thinking a lot about games. It's not that complicated. Do you love games? Do you think a lot about it? And that's all it is. So, like, I was playtesting. I try to playtest other indie people's games. Today, I tested Guilds and Gambits. Shout out to Dewey on that. But that game was really good. It's basically an auto battler, like if it was a card game. Like take like the auto battlers from League of Legends in a card game. And it's well executed. It's really good.
Yeah.
Overall. But I wasn't thinking as a game designer. I was just like playing the game. Like, what does the card do? What does the mechanic do again? I'm like, it's very humbling to play test other people's games and be like, I kind of suck, when I play. So
yeah, cool. What's your favorite non-card tabletop game? So something with a board, something with pieces, something that would generally be considered a board game.
The most influential, the top of my head, is Spirit Island. If you heard of that game,
I've never played it.
It's a fantastic game. So that actually influenced the raise mechanic. Which, if you don't know what raising is for the audience, it's just take a card from your graveyard.
In 9 Omens, yeah. So you can play a card from your hand or replace a card in your hand from the discard pile.
Right. So in Spirit Island, it's called Recall. Okay. And in Spirit Island, it's a very complex board game. It's like a 4 out of 5. It's the whole premise of the game is you are nature spirits killing colonizers, basically. Like, colonizers are coming to your island, you got to protect it.
Right.
And you start off with 4 cards, but you draft cards over time. But you basically play cards and you get them all back by recalling them from your grave. So I love that recycling mechanic, and I adapted it to 9 Omens. So
okay, cool. Can we do the spoiler?
Yes.
All right.
Do the spoiler.
So you sent this to me a little earlier. I'm going to add it here, and we can talk about Rat Taliator.
Yep.
From Team Shadows, which the only 2 teams that have been publicly revealed to the world now are Amassed and Elements. So this is a new team, new card. Take it away. Tell us about the card.
Oh yeah, I'll say it is. I said it on your Discord. I never noticed, but the other names are in my video somewhere.
Yeah. Right. I did catch those. Yep, I did catch those.
Yeah. If you look at it. Okay. So let's talk about Team Shadows first. So actually, what do you think Team Shadows is about? Just looking at it, actually, I'm going to interview you now.
Sure. I would imagine that Team Shadows is going to really like playing things face down. That would be a guess. Subterfuge, trickery.
Okay.
Yeah, that's just off the top of my head. And I really don't know anything. I really don't know anything else, right?
He got it right.
Yeah, okay.
Spot on.
Cool.
That's fantastic. For the viewers at home, Retaliator is a Shadow's Omen. 0 attack, 2,000 defense after I'm slain. So when it's like, slain, combat, it loses or whatever, a card effect, you may slay a face up Omen with 1,000 or less attack. So I think the playtesting name was like Revenger. And then he kind of like Preston changes all the names. He was like, oh, Retaliator. Right?
Yeah.
It's gonna retaliate. But so when I design a team in 9 Omens, it takes me 3 hours straight of like thinking about the cards, or plus a lot of overtime thinking. I generally go top down. I think 2 general themes I want. So you think of Amassed, like plants. What do plants do? Plants twist, like roots twist, control. and they also regrow.
Yeah.
Right? Like odd spawn, regrow back. So elements, I thought of like power, right? Stat changes. But I also thought about retaliation. Like I was inspired by the Spirit Island nature gods. So like tsunami comboing with Wave Waker, I raise again, right? After I retaliated. So stuff like that. So with shadows, the theme, the big thing was pack animals. I was inspired by pack, like wolves hunting.
Yeah.
That was the whole idea. So what does wolves hunting feel like? Well, swarm, which is not shown here, but there's a lot of swarm potential.
Right.
There's a card called Crowder and Playtesting, which you will adore. It's a fan favorite card. I will not say what it is. Everyone loves that card, whether they play it correctly or not. But Crowder, testing name, people love that card.
Yeah.
But face down is the thing, and then retaliating with face down. One more thing Shadows is really good at, and they have like 2 or 3 of these stat modifiers.
Okay.
So what I mean by that is there are cards, there's 3 cards, I think 3 to my knowledge, where they literally change the entire stats of a card, even with the card.
So not a bonus, but like just an overwrite.
Yeah, it can be a bonus.
Right.
It can
or it could be a debuff.
Or it could be a debuff, depending on how you play it. So, and the cool part about those stat modifiers is you can target omens that are face down, because any omen includes even face down stuff. So there's complexity there. So Retaliator is paired with another omen. There's basically, if you want to know, another spoiler, I guess, there's a mirrored omen, which is the opposite effect. So you may slay a face-up omen with 1,000 or more attack. So it kind of plays into that.
This is a cool card. I'm already, looking at it on the face, it may seem fairly simple, but having played a bunch of games at this point, I can see that it's like, first off, it's 2,000 defense. That's pretty dangerous on defense. But you kind of also want it to die because you want to get that effect, right? And so it's useful in a lot of different situations. It seems like it would be, at least. Not having played it yet, I'm a fan.
Right. Let me ask you. Let me ask you this now. How do you counter this card? The 9 Omens Master right now. How would you counter this?
You attack it with an odd spawn, face up, right? 1,500 attack.
1,500 attack. Well, yeah. I mean, in defense mode or like.
You may slay a face up omen with. Well, it doesn't matter. Well, I'm just saying, if I was trying to remove this, I would. Oh, not in defense mode, right? I mean, you twist it, right? You twist it into attack mode, and then it kind of. Yeah, maybe I'm missing something.
No, you're right. Yeah, the weakness of these guys is they're very weak in attack, right? That's their main thing. You just throw in like a Rot Riser and attack, and you switch it, right? But this makes Shadows is obscenely scary to play against, because you don't know if they have their 2K defenders with these removal effects. So I'm like, I'm gonna switch you to attack, see what's up.
Yeah. I would imagine that the mind games get pretty powerful there. This card has pause on the borders. Is that something that is that something that's unique to this card, or can we expect like border art that's themed for the team on?
Oh,
you know what I mean?
So we have the test cards. So So the test cards, we're never making them again. Sorry. This way, but there's a couple tweaks on it, a couple wording clarifications too, also on some cards. But we found that people had a hard time identifying a team, basically, just from the bottom left, and that was a concern I had for a while. But I was like, shoot, borders, right? We should just use the borders to our advantage. So after these test decks, we were like, all right, every team unique border. And I stole that idea from, I don't think it made it, but shout out to Necromancers, another game in the Speed Robo Games lineup. They have unique borders in their cards, and I stole that there. And then Speed Robo actually made the borders on it, so he made the little paw prints. I was like, all right, cool. Make the border. Yeah, so it was a good identification. And The only other two changes was the bottom left team font change to be more readable, and then we had a concern that some people, couldn't read the Olay soldiers, right? Some people were like, I can't read the Olay soldiers. So we added like the name in the bottom and like little, kind of small, but it's readable enough, right? So if you can't read, Preston's amazing handwriting.
Oh yeah, I see that down. That's actually a good. I like that. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the joke is, as we were playing, and I had sent you this on Discord last night while I was playing. Clay soldiers, with that handwriting. My brother was reading it as Olay soldiers, and he kept saying it, and I was like, "What is he talking?" And then I realized. So yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
Okay, I had a couple more questions pop into my mind.
Yeah.
As we were talking here. Venus, Soul Trap, Mountoom, cards that like being the second player. Is that something that we can expect on every team, or is
every team
has a when I go second bonus card kind of?
Right. So a problem with Yu-Gi-Oh, which is the bones of the game, is tempo. Yep. First player always has tempo. So a playtester of mine, I won't shout him out for confidentiality if they don't be called out. Or a positive thing here, but they were like, they had the idea of the cards need you need to add something like an effect on the cards for second player, or some kind of bonus for second player, because the way it is now, it's never going to be bounced. And then I was like, my anxiety and as a game designer was like, all right, we're just going to make every team have a unique identity card. So the way it's balanced is, if you think about it, if your first Venus Soul Trap is like half its value, right? Yeah. Whereas you're being compensated by tempo, and if you're second, it's worth 1.5 times its normal value. Yeah. So that's So every team has a signature. Yeah.
And it's like a powerful effect, right? Like the card that, whether that's on or off, significantly changes the way you play. And it's interesting because there's like a difference in power, but it also changes your decision making and how you play. So you're actually going to play your deck different. I mean, for a number of reasons, but also because that card is much less good. So like when you're playing Fertilize and you have to discard a card, right? Soul Trap becomes a more likely chance, like discard target if you're going. And at least I felt that way when I was playing first.
It can, right? But I'll add on to this. One of the things I realized when I was doing this change was I didn't want these second player cards to feel useless if you're going first. Yeah. So the way I balanced it out was, if you see Soul Trap and Mountoom, they are 2K attackers or defenders. They are the highest in their range. Yeah. So that was the balance mechanism there. Right. Okay. Last question. Maybe. Keep going. It's all good. Clay Soldiers and Flower Peddler, cards that when they end, their effect is bringing more cards in, like Tempo Burst. Is that something that you're including on every team, or like something like that? Yeah. Yes. In general, So, but it's a card game, man. We like playing cards, right? We got to have something to break tempo. Every team has at least one extra summoning. Now, those are the extremes. If you look at those two teams, they only have one extra summoner, and it's like a crazy one. It's like I get two guys. It's very crazy, powerful, high risk, high reward. Right. The other teams will usually have like two. Okay. So they're gonna have two, but they're not as crazy as that. Like, say like I play a card face down, right? Like more simple like that. Got it. But yeah, that's gonna be. Think of it this way: every team is gonna have the stats. It's gonna have removal. Yep. It's gonna have in some kind removal, whether it's like destruction, like elements, or like twisting, right? Yeah. It's gonna have extra summoning and some kind of utility, right? Like raising. I try to make sure I want you to play a mask how you want to play a mask, whether that's defensively or offensively. That's how I want you to play. Right. Okay. Very good. Cool. All right. I feel like I'm understanding the game. I was able to call out some of your design skeletons. So game is currently in Kickstarter. It's blown away the funding goal of $9. And which is apropos. When can, and maybe you can't say this, and if you can't plead the fifth, that's fine.
But when can people who backed it expect to, generally speaking, hopefully have a copy in their hands?
Okay, so I don't think I'll die for this. I think the latest, and this is the absolute latest, is October. So that's like 7 months, like pretty standard for a Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Most Kickstarters are like 6 to 12 months. It's just shipping, printing times. I'm
Yeah.
hoping
Getting on the schedule.
Yeah, getting on the schedule. It's just stuff like that, right? And the transparency, I think it's okay to say this. Not all the art is done, so we're just cleaning up some art, making it good, stuff like that. Everything else is done. Rulebook is finalized. The game has been done for about like 2 to 3 weeks now. So
yeah,
everything's done but some art. So we're just waiting and just cleaning it up. But fingers crossed we get it earlier.
Yeah.
Chance, and that would be good. But the print and play files will be available as it comes, so you'll get a mass Wind Power print and play pretty quickly. It's on TTS. We're going to update as we go.
Okay.
And tentatively, we'll be doing some online tournaments for the game.
Okay. I like that.
In the future, I think we're doing a world championship at Board Game Geek. I have to fact check that with Speed Robo, but I wanted this to be a webcam friendly tournament game as well.
I mean, I feel like at the absolute craziest, you have 4 cards on your field at once, typically.
Yeah, so
right. It's pretty easy to see what's going on.
Yep, that was the intent. Thank you, Origins, for that.
And the art is also very, it's very identifiable, right? Like cards look different. Like each card looks fairly different from the next card, and yeah, that's easy to see. That's good. Yeah, I think that's an underrated thing about especially indie card games where you can't just roll down to the local LGS and find 18 people playing Commander for your game,
right?
Because I play a bunch of indie games and all of them have some way to play online, whether it's TTS or an online client or webcam. And personally, my favorite's webcam, right?
Yes.
Like tactically, it's to me that's the best way to play. And a lot of games are very difficult to play over a webcam. So
there's a lot of reasons for that, but the two big ones is boards are too big.
Yep.
Right. Even like Commander has like Spell Table, right? Spell Table, the fact that you need to have an app to play your card game on webcam speaks a lot to the difficulty of doing it.
Yeah.
So one consideration was space, right? I wanted you to have a limited number of cards on the field, 3 to 4, maybe 5 if you're really messing around.
Right. Never seen it, but I believe you. Yeah.
Yeah, it very, very rare. It's almost never happens. But the other consideration was text. Text needs to be readable too. So we made the attack and defense pretty large enough. Yep. And I'm hoping the effect text is big enough in general. It's not going to change from the test cards. So yeah, that was the two considerations I had for webcam play.
Very good. Well, very good. Well, Kevin, thank you very much for your time tonight. Learned a lot. This has been a wonderfully fun conversation. For everybody that is interested, check out 9 Omens on Kickstarter. The link will be in the description. I will also be linking. Ooh, that's the test box?
That's the box on Kickstarter. Yeah, it's
that's
on
cool.
there.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
Is it the same? Because it's 54 cards. Is it the same size as like a standard playing card deck box?
I don't know. I'm not too sure. Let's just say it is.
Cool. Okay. All right, fair. Anyway, I was saying, link to the Kickstarters in the description. Kevin, I'm going to link your YouTube channel, your Discord. Reach out, get connected, and check out this super awesome $15 no shuffle game. Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much, Mike. I'll see you next time.
See ya.